Episode 9 is set to include many different twists and turns, as well as surprises by writer and director J.J. Abrams and Chris Terrio. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, one thing that a lot of people, including myself, am very much interested in when it comes to this movie is exactly how J.J. Abrams is going to change our view on both Jedi and Sith lore in this film by use of some of the sequel trilogy characters like Kylo Ren and Rey. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with the first Jedi and the Lost City, including Rey and R2-D2. Specifically, a description of Rey inside the Lost City, reading an ancient Jedi book with R2-D2 by her side. It's described to be one of the sequences involving Jedi lore, specifically the book of the first Jedi that Rey discovers in the Lost City. The next goes over Rey sitting on a stone in front of the statue of the first Jedi. It's described that from reading the passages in the book, Rey learns the ancient Jedi and ancient Sith had their differences, however were not considered enemies. Another goes over Rey placing the book in the hands of the first Jedi statue and leaving it there as she walks away with R2 into another tunnel system that has many glowing figures of the first Jedi on the walls throughout the ages. Lastly, a description of Rey with a Kyber crystal necklace around her neck. It's said to be a clear Kyber crystal that once belonged to the first Jedi. So I want to go over a couple of parts about this that's really getting me very excited for Jedi and Sith lore in Episode 9. Now, first things first, the first thing that I do want to go over is, of course, the Lost City and the first Jedi. Now, in case you guys are not informed about the Lost City, it was an original environment that was supposed to make it to the final cut of The Force Awakens that never made it there, and is now going to be inserted into Star Wars Episode 9. So, the thing that does interest me the most is how Rey is going on this adventure with R2-D2. It seems as though the R2-D2 tags along with Rey for a good portion of this film, especially when she visits the Lost City and discovers ancient Jedi lore and learns more about the first Jedi through the book of the first Jedi and the first Jedi statue. Now, we do know that statues are going to play a big role in the Lost City. It's actually a location where there's a lot of Jedi and Sith artifacts and relics, as well as ancient history of those two sides of the Star Wars universe. So the book of the first Jedi, we heard about this slightly, I believe it was maybe about 2 weeks ago, about Rey actually learning more about the ancient Jedi way through the sacred text that she took from Ahch-To in the Tree Library, as well as some of the books that she discovers within the Lost City. So the Lost City is basically a location in which she learns more about the ways of the Jedi, the ancient ways of the Jedi, and is actually going on a different path than she has ever gone before in her whole entire life, basically. So the next thing that I do want to go over is, of course, the Kyber crystal necklace. Now, we do know that this all started and began with the character of Luke Skywalker that never really picked up in The Last Jedi. We do know that there were some deleted scenes that were never included on the Blu-ray that actually had Luke wearing the red Kyber crystal necklace. It seems as though that J.J. Abrams is doing exactly what Rian Johnson wasn't able to do in Episode 8 and is now implementing that into Episode 9, where Rey actually holds the first Jedi's Kyber crystal necklace. It's actually described as being a clear Kyber crystal, which means that it's most likely pure and could very well have been a original red Kyber crystal that the first Jedi was able to make it pure by making it clear. So with that being said, the first Jedi seems like a very interesting aspect of Episode 9 that JJ is going to be exploring in this movie. And that's what I love about Star Wars, especially when it comes to Jedi and Sith lore. This is the type of stuff that I really love, learning more about and how it expands it within the Star Wars universe. And we actually learned a whole lot more about this in the EU and Legends before it was basically erased by Disney. And it seems as though that now Disney, Lucasfilm, JJ, and crew really want to rebuild the whole entire concept of Jedi and Sith lore, being very expansive, that holds a lot of truth and secrets to the Force and, of course, everything else. Now, involving, the whole entire sequence between both Rey and R2-D2 within the Lost City, we do know that the set over at Cardington is described to be one of the biggest sets for a Star Wars film to date, ever, in the sequel trilogy and in the Skywalker saga, and that the Lost City is indeed going to be that very set that is considered the biggest set piece for Episode 9, which we heard about a couple of months ago, that Rey would be going through a tunnel system involving different figures and different ancient drawings, very much like what we were supposed to get in The Last Jedi, where basically we would be learning more about the ancient ways of everything related to the Jedi and the Sith. Now J.J. Abrams is picking all of that up in Episode 9 and making a great plot point of it in this movie. So the last thing that I do want to go over involving the Lost City and of course the First Jedi is, well, it is going to be another thing within the sacred texts that Luke Skywalker once owned on the planet of Ahch-To. So these sacred texts are going to also play a very big role in the movie that will offer a lot of knowledge to Rey, not just about the First Jedi, but also about new Jedi lore and ancient Jedi lore as well. Anyways guys, drop a comment below, let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.